Hey, what's up, guys? Professor Bill, Comic Book University. And of course, I wait until now to realize that my glasses are smudged. That's always frustrating. So, this was a good series. What do you think? We just got the first episode. I should have done this for MODOK also. Oh well, I guess it's not too late. But I just got finished watching Loki. It just finished. It literally just, I stopped. I was playing a video game, saw this thing, and I was like, oh, it's 3:02 in the AM. Hey, guess what just started 2 minutes ago? So, the first appearance of the Time Variance Authority was also the first appearance of Justice Peace. I'm really upset that Black Chick wasn't Justice Peace, but it is what it is. Maybe they're saving him for something. Maybe they're saving something for something. I don't know. I would just really like to see the character. There is a chance we can also see Death's Head in this also. I don't know how familiar you guys are with this, but the creator was Walter Simonson. This was in a Thor comic book. Can't remember which one, but go and check it out. You'll actually see this big Judge Dredd character on a what do they call it? A sky cycle or something like that? Skycicle? Anyway, and it was just a mention. The time variance of the TVA, the Time Variance Authority, was just a brief mention in that, and there was only 2 issues. And then later, and that was during Jim Shooter's time as editor in chief. So Sal Buscema was actually the artist during that time because this was in the second half of Walter Simonson's run on Thor, the greatest run on any comic book ever. So it's very fitting that Loki is a character here where they're introducing TVA. Now later on, things would start to get everything would start to go downhill at Marvel. Walter Simonson left. Basically, Jim Shooter was gone, and Walter Simonson left his run on Thor, and then he started doing a run on the Fantastic Four. Now, go figure, the next time that we see or hear from the TVA, it's here in the Fantastic Four. What's interesting, I'll get to the comments in a second, guys, and how are all of you? So what's interesting about this is Walter Simonson, and this time he's writing and doing the art and the inks and the covers. He's not doing the letters, go figure, but and the colors. He never really did the colors. He has the Fantastic Four plus Iron Man plus Thor going through time, through the slipstream specifically, a part of the time stream. And Death's Head actually meets them there and says, hey, there's an anomaly, and the TVA hired me instead of killing people to find out things, so I'm here to get information. If you're not familiar with Death's Head, go look up Death's Head Explained in a Minute on Comic Book University. Take you about a minute, maybe a minute and a half, bang, you're good to go. You'll know all about this character. What happened? So this was cool. This is actually the first time that Thor really got into it with the gladiator from the Shi'ar Empire, but it wasn't really him. Well, it was him, but it's from a different timeline. We also find out, and now we don't hear from the TVA, we just hear about them. Again, they're just a mention. This is just a big thing. It could be just a pipe dream that Walter Simonson had dreamed up at the time. Nobody knew what it was. It wasn't explained at all, right? It was just the TVA, the Time Variance Authority. But they did mention in these early Fantastic Four comic books that, when they're like, who's the TVA? Like, well, basically, they're the arch nemesis of the Kangs. So, Kang the Conqueror, Immortus, Nathaniel Rich, all of that stuff there, right? So that's what I find so interesting that they chose to. There's so much just lining up perfectly. Also, Chris Evans returned for like one thing, like he had a one image deal where he was going to be Captain America again. Everybody was thinking he's going to be in the Captain America 4. Everybody's thinking this, that, and the other thing. We don't know if any of that's going to happen, but in this episode, I think that's where we saw it. I think that's where we get to see, hey, crap, this was the thing. So Chris Evans showed up for a quick Captain America cameo thing right here. Damn it, that was it. Which is fun because that's what happened in Thor, I think it was Thor the Dark World, right? The second Thor movie, where he showed up real quick and he started doing the redneck thing, which I think was hysterical. But besides the idea that it started in Thor and continued with Thor, and we've got Loki here doing this, a lot of us have speculated that while the Celestials would be fun and cute, and the Deviants will only work for but so far for Phase 5 and on for the MCU right now, the character who would work best because of everything that the Avengers did, because of what Loki is doing right now, what Ant-Man did, specifically what he's about to do, right, with Ant-Man and the Wasp Part 3, the Quantumania. There's going to be a whole lot of time travel stuff, right? So wouldn't it be perfect if Kang the Conqueror was actually the main villain in the next phase? And therefore, what better way to introduce Kang than to have his mortal enemy? Now, let's see if I can. I'm not going to go into too much of an explanation, but enough of one. We know magic. Ilyana Rasputin, right? Colossus's sister, his little sister. She has a small pocket realm in Limbo that it's just on a time loop, and time acts very weird there, right? Now, that's just a pocket realm in the greater Limbo. Limbo in and of itself is huge. It's this gigantic area, and that's where the Kangs go in, and Mortis and all of them. That's where all of them are. And that's where that's their headquarters. That's where their seat of power, where they can change time and mess with time. And they're basically a virus, according to the TVA. Now, the TVA also operates in a slipstream, but it's different than Limbo, and it's actually larger than Limbo. So what they're capable, they showed nothing in the MCU. When Loki's out there looking, he's like, I thought you said that none of this was magic. And that was okay. It was fairly impressive. I mean, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's got something different. I'd still love to see Shi'ar space, But that being said, yeah, it was a cool little thing there. What happened? They anyway, so that's basically a quick understanding of what the TVA is. So they go around, and anytime that there's some kind of a variant, they try to fix things. And some of the things that they've done is they've actually put a timestamp on several areas of time space. So they said that no time travel can happen within this period of time, right? So I remember it was the first appearance of Justice Peace. He came back. He's like, one, my sky sled, my sky cycle, whatever the hell this thing is called. This is my anchor into a specific time. And it was charged with a certain level of tachyon. And once that charge is gone, I go back. And it might be going back to a future that doesn't exist anymore. He was actually, this is interesting. He was looking for a character called Zaniac, like Maniac, except, Zaniac. Interesting character. He was just a regular old murderer who happened to be full of parasites and whatnot. And much later on, they would make a movie about something similar to this, but using angels. They called it Fallen. Denzel Washington was in it. If you look at the story of Zaniac, you'll realize that there is no way that the guys who did the Fallen movie did not read that Walter Simonson comic book. There's no way they didn't. So I'm saying, greatest run on a comic book ever, Walter Simonson's Thor. Spawned movies that had nothing to do with it at all, or did it? They this guy Zaniac would basically take over other people's bodies, and he would go around and trying to kill all the pretties. It's basically women. Anytime he would find a woman, he would just have to murder her dead, right? Not going to be particularly interesting. Maybe that'll work here. Maybe it won't. Maybe like George Nicholas says, there'll be too much gore on the floor. That's a possibility. All right. I don't know. I'm not here for, I don't know. I'm just guessing. That being said, if they showed that because they said in this TV series that the person who's going around killing agents is actually Loki. Okay, interesting. What if it was actually Zaniac, though? What if it was Zaniac who took over one of the bodies of Loki and just moved on and did whatever he was doing? Maybe they won't name him Zaniac. Honestly, I don't know. I wouldn't mind having a figure, because you know that once they do all this stuff, they're going to make these figures pretty soon. I fully expect to have a Mobius Marvel Legends 6-inch figure pretty soon. You know what I'm saying? I promise you that's gonna be announced before we know it. So Owen Wilson, yay, immortalized. Maybe they'll even have some army builders of the TVA soldiers. Who knows? We can mod them to be SWAT agents. As far as this one is concerned, oh, you see the thing that I put here. I didn't even know who DB Cooper was. So that was actually really cool. If you look him up, DB Cooper was actually apparently a real person and they don't know who he was. They just have that name. They said, "Oh, he must be his name. We're going to name him DB Cooper." He called himself DB. I forget what the story is. I just read it really quickly. But you can actually wiki search this guy up. Yeah, real person. And this is the only thing that he's synonymous for doing. And somehow these knuckleheads at Marvel went and found this. And they're like, let's make him Loki. Yeah, I'm down for that. That was really cool. Um, I'm enjoying this series. I see on here it's by Mark McKeever. It's off to a slow start. Yeah, yeah, I expect that from the first episode. I'm really happy that it looks like pretty much almost probably all of the teasers that they've given us were all from this episode. Now there's going to be 6 episodes total. Each one is supposed to be an hour long. This one was only like 35 minutes, so I don't know what they're doing. I don't know why they keep on saying one thing and then doing something else. This just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Maybe the final episode will be an hour and a half long to try and make up for it. Like, I don't know, but they keep on saying that 6 hours is the perfect time to do these things. So 6 episodes, an hour long each. Um, at the same time, this was the series that uh, Clark Gregg, the guy who plays Phil Coulson, who made a quick, little thing on here. Clark Gregg said that he came into the studio to do something, to do Captain Marvel, and he saw the scripts, and he saw that Loki was only supposed, or he said he saw see, episode 9 of Loki. It's like, wait a second, huh? So he just mentioned this, and the other people who were paying attention and said, "Oh, there's only supposed to be 6 episodes." They turn around, they're just like, "Wait a second. What do you mean episode 9? You saw something for episode 9?" So they're starting to realize that, this seems to go up to episode 18, which would indicate that there are 2 seasons for this. Okay, very cool. So I've reported this on the Comic Book University podcast. I stopped doing that as of the recent Sunday because it's just all of it's just too much for me right now. So yeah, but I decided to watch this, and this was actually really fun. There's not a whole lot to report on this. Just watch the thing. I enjoyed it. I think that you'll enjoy too. This is not a whoo thing, but one thing that this episode did that I didn't expect it to do. I expected them to try, but I did not expect them to succeed, was to actually humanize Loki. I knew they were going to try their asses off, and I honestly did not think they were going to do it. And yet they did it the perfect way, and they succeeded. In my opinion, they succeeded. You know, I'm not here to bash women, but it's going to seem like it. Women seem to really like Loki a lot. There's a lot of guys who like Loki also. He's a great character. You know what I'm saying? Tom Hiddleston does an amazing job. I couldn't imagine this guy. You know what he first auditioned as for the Thor movie? He first auditioned to be Thor. He wanted to be Thor. Can you imagine that if he would have gotten that? I'm glad that he did not get that role. I'm like, we got a better idea for you, bud. Because he's the perfect Loki. I couldn't imagine him being a Thor, and I couldn't imagine anybody else being a Loki. What are they going to do? Get freaking um, Willem Dafoe? No, seriously, I can't imagine anybody else being this character. Got to trim my mustache, it's getting ticklish. Anyway, so my wife loves the Loki character, loves Loki, and I'm just like, what do you do? It's like, oh, he's troubled, he's heartache, blah 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 blah. I was like, well, with the Falcon and Winter Soldier television series, John Walker only did good things. He only ever did good things, but you hate him. You want to see him get beaten up. Yeah, I know it's just, blah, 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 but Loki's like complicated. I was like, he's not complicated. He's a bad guy. Like he's evil. He ripped out somebody's eye. If Loki ripped out my eye, would you still think that he's an amazing character and it's complicated and I love him so much? No, you just think he's cute and you don't know who that person was. You don't know whose eye that was. You know what I'm saying? You don't know. You don't care. So he was about to kill that one Jewish guy who was like, "I'm not going to kneel to anybody else in Germany again who stands above me." Captain America made that reference later on. You know, saying like there's a big deal. They did a lot with this stuff. And I'm like, I know there's no way they're going to be able to pull off Loki being a hero or at least a sympathetic character. And I don't know if they're going to pull off him being a hero, but I think it's really cool that they literally addressed every single evil thing that he did in the television or in the movies, including leading to his mother's death, leading to Odin's death, right? So Freya, you'll want to take the path to the left, the stairs to the left. That led right to Freya, dude. You led it right to your mom. What are you doing? He didn't mean for that to happen, but oh well. You know, the path to hell is paved with good intentions, they say, right? Um, and it's funny that he was actually represented as a devil in that French cathedral, right? That was pretty cool. Wonder what that blue gum stuff is supposed to be. Is it supposed to be the Tesseract? I don't know. That's interesting. Anyway, oh God, I was trying to save that image of all the Infinity Stones in the drawer because there was more than just the Infinity Stones and there was a lot of stuff. You know, every so often there's an image that people are going to wind up showing and trying to, you know, like, hey, look, guys, this, that, and the other thing, right? Yeah, that's the image in this show, in this episode at the very least, where there's a whole bunch of spoilers and images and stuff like that for the future on there. One of the things that I think I saw on there, because I paused it, I wasn't able to get the screenshot. It just showed up as a blank image for me, which I don't know why. And I didn't feel like I could have done other things, but you know, external things to get the image to show, but whatever. That image showed a little gun in there that I think was supposed to be the MCU version of the Ultimate Nullifier, which would be amazing. I think I saw a Medal of Honor in there. Was that supposed to be a reference to what's his face, John Walker? Yeah, I honestly I don't know. There's a lot there, a whole lot. Um, what the hell else? Anyways, yeah, so there was that scene. Anyway, they showed all of his evil scenes and then showed him having regret. And it's so funny because I thought they're going to try and they're going to fail to make me like that, but it was so easy for them to make me look at this and go, "Oh wow, awesome." So there's still several things that they could do with this. They could still, you know, have him turn around and continue being evil. That mischievous smile that he does, you know, and just keep on doing evil things. It's a possibility. He could just wind up being fully reset by the end of this. I doubt it. I doubt it. The trick is he sees that. Hey, what's going on there? Tombstone. Interesting name. Wyatt Earp. Doc Holliday. But they one of the things I think could be interesting is while he came for the Tesseract, he saw all the other Infinity Stones. It's like, oh, but they have no power here. But the TVA is more powerful. So maybe a lot of this is just a big old ploy in order to get him to understand that, you know, this is where the real power is. So maybe he'll forget about the Tesseract from this point on. He'll just say, I need to harness the power of the TVA. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. He's going to try and conquer those lizard people, maybe. He's always mentioned that he's a god, and most of these other people aren't. Even if somebody else is more powerful than him, what's up, Raven? Even if somebody else is more powerful than him. Case in point, his dying breath to Thanos, who was killing him right before he had his neck snapped, was, "You'll never be a god." If they do anything in this series, it should definitely be to explore what is a god, right? Because in the regular Marvel universe, in the comics, it's easy. Like, you know, he's super powerful. He's ridiculously powerful. He's an Asgardian. These are characters who are right up there, almost neck and neck with the Grandmaster and the other elders of the universe. They're just as powerful as them, you know, in their own regards, you know. But some of these other guys, man, forget about it. Forget about it. In the MCU, though, where there are other characters who are so much more powerful than Loki and Asgardians in general, right? They chump them around. I wonder if we can actually explore what is a god. Why is Loki so proud of being a god? You know, maybe it's just because the idea that he's actually not. Remember, Loki isn't actually Asgardian. He's a frost giant. He's a pint-sized frost giant, but growth and abnormality. But like he's a Jotunheimer. He's not an Asgardian. So all of this could actually be really fun to explore. And I hope that they actually delve into that. Anyway, guys, that's really it. Really short one for the most part. Well, 20 minutes, not bad. Not bad at all. Go back and rewatch this. I'm going to rewatch it also, but I'm going to be rewatching it with the family tomorrow after the kids get out of school. We're all going to watch it. This was fun. This was definitely fun. Thank you guys for showing up, and I'll talk to you all later. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.